I've been waiting for this moment for quite some time. It's the first time this car's going to be exhibited at a classic show. So yeah, really looking forward to this. It's at Tullow in County Carlow, so we are about 2 hours away-ish. It's 6:30 on a Sunday morning, so not the most natural of times to be up. I'm feeling a little bit groggy, so I must stop for a cup of tea and a bit of breakfast at some stage. So let's just hope then that this journey goes flawlessly. The Peugeot so far has been absolutely fine mechanically in that regard, but of course it's old, it's French, and those two phrases when it comes to car don't really go together that well. So let's just pray that I get there mechanically in one piece. Now I brought this thing to a car wash yesterday for the first time, and it shined up really, really nicely. And then what happened, of course, for the first time in 3 weeks? It rained, because of course it did. But thankfully the roads still seem rather clean, and there's not a lot of muck around. And I gave it a bit of a once-over in here with some wipes, and gave it a good vacuum out as well. So it's a lot fresher in here than it was too, but yeah, it's going to need attention with a wet and dry to give it the full valet makeover effect. So yes, onwards and upwards to Carlow. I haven't done a lot of motorway cruising in this car because I'm just reluctant to really stress it too much in case anything breaks. But we're doing pretty much 70. We're actually going uphill now on this section for extra engine strain. And there we have it. We've got 70. It pulls absolutely fine. I just really don't like doing it. But one thing I've noticed about the Peugeot is that the faster you drive, the more dashboard creaks and dashboard rattles you get. It comes mainly from this centre console here where the air vents and the radio is. And I do remember watching lots of Top Gear road tests on different cars from the late 80s and early 90s, and Chris Goffey always said that manufacturers were moulding and then clamping the dashboards into the car to reduce squeaks and rattles.
The dashboard, for instance, is assembled off the car and then inserted into the shell by robots to avoid shakes and rattles.
Well, Chris, I don't think we did that on this one, mate, really, because this is very rattly at high speed. Breakfast is served. You cannot do an old car road trip without a Mackey's breakfast. Them's just the rules. And a cup of tea too. I've just entered Carlow. So I'm rapidly approaching my destination. It's through the next couple of roundabouts. But I mean, I haven't spotted any signposts for the show, and I haven't seen any other classic cars heading this direction. So I hope I've got the day right. I'm pretty sure I have. Sunday the 11th of June, yeah. Always a little bit concerning when you don't see anything else. I mean, I am deadline for registration for cars that are being exhibited is 10 o'clock, and it is currently 8:48 or whatever, so 10 to 9 pretty much. So yeah, I am nice and early. I can hang around here and grab a coffee and go for a stroll or whatever. But it's just a little bit concerning that I haven't seen any other cars yet. Journey update time, and the reason I didn't see any signs or any cars heading towards the show was because I was at the wrong location. I was going to where last year's show was, at Carlow Rugby Club, and it's not there this year. So I did a stupid, which is of no surprise because it is, of course, me. I mean, why would you look at a map? Who needs maps? It's 2023. So that's a lesson learned until I forget it, inevitably. So yeah, I'm now going to the correct location, about 3 or 4 minutes away, according to the maps on the phone. So I'm actually in County Wicklow, not Carlow. Yeah, geographically this has been a little bit of a disaster, but I'm almost there. So let's plough on. I did encounter a fantastic stretch of B road about 10 minutes ago, and it was great fun throwing this thing round. Absolutely brilliant. There we are. Oh, I didn't know we were there. Fantastic. This is where we are. Brilliant. I think, aren't we? Is this us? It is vintage show. Somebody's written it on a placard in marker pen, which is professional, but all good. At least I know I'm in the right place now. Flipping it, there's a Proton Gen 2. So can you see it there? There it is in the corner, look. Wow, that's rare. I haven't seen one of them in flipping yonks. Right, where do I go then to enter my car? Is this in here? Oh, there we go. Perfect, thanks a million. And we have done an arrival. And I got a lovely little kind of tea cosy thing as well. Isn't that nice? Look at that, Tullow Vintage Club. That's really nice, that. So a tenner in, it's donations, I think to a local hospital or something. So threw them a tenner, and I got a few quid then to spend at the Auto Jumble, if there is an Auto Jumble, which I'm not sure if there is. It doesn't look like it's particularly well attended at the moment, but there's a few stalls behind me, so that's all well and good. So we've got a good half an hour until registration closes and a good hour and a half until the show actually begins. So yeah, let's I don't know, take a stroll and have a little look around. I think my favourite car at this show is this Austin Princess 1800. How absolutely stunning is that? Sorry, 1800 HL. So I believe this is approaching, if not top of the range. What a lovely old car that is. That's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? It's got the obscured windscreen wiper spindles, as highlighted infamously by James May on Top Gear many, many years ago. That is such a wonderful car. Hydrogas suspension all round, lovely chromed bumpers. Look at these stickers on the back. Credit Union, your first team cheering Ireland and Italia 90. And what looks like an original Warrens of Carlo dealer sticker. So this car hasn't come that far in its lifetime. I think the one that May had on that episode of Top Gear was, that one was a 2 litre, wasn't it? Because it had the squarish looking headlamps. I've forgotten what they're called. Quad something. But this has got the double. Interior I always find on these things to be rather smart as well. I really love the steering wheels on them and that dashboard layout. Really, really smart indeed. Looks like an original Motorola stereo in that one as well. Here's a car that nobody ever really talks about. It's a VW Vento, which is effectively just a booted Volkswagen Golf or a Golf saloon. Very kind owners have actually let me sit in it as well, so we can get a much closer look at this interior. Now, it's a Vento CL, so it's obviously not horrendously low down the range. It's got electric front windows, as we can see there, and you've got this really handy bit of well, it's a glove box, isn't it? It's just not where a glove box would usually be, which of course is down there. Got a nice little parcel shelf there with some added audio options and a Haynes manual there. And just to prove it's effectively a booted Golf, it covers the same models. Blaupunkt stereo there, looks original, which is all well and good, but to prove that it's not top of the range, we've got all of these Blanken plugs here, which are fantastic. And more here as well. Airbag, which is pretty good for a car of this standard in the mid-90s. As you can see there, 88,141 miles on the clock, so very, very low for this year. It's 27 years old. What's that there? That is a thingy. Is that a blanket plug for the airbag or something? Not sure. But I like this design. It's all very ergonomic. We've got some odd kind of foam issues coming out of the vents there. Not really sure what all that's about. 5-speed manual gearbox. Lovely kind of beige, creamy beige interior plastics. And very fetching seats, although I think, are they covers? No, I think that's all original. I don't know, actually. Look at that, Nokia phone cradle. Just to bring us all back to about 2001, which is fantastic. Got we got a vanity mirror here, which is brilliant. Hello. And we have one over there too. Roof lining is sagging a little bit in place, a little bit loose, but it's all well and good. There's the back. and it's really, really nice in here. That rear seat looks like it's hardly ever been sat in, and plenty of space there towards the boot as well. It's a huge parcel shelf at the rear. So we have here a Jaguar Sovereign and an XJ6. Two beautiful old cars, and one of them's got an old man in it. Which is the way that all old Jaguars should be, of course. Let's take a look then at the Sovereign first. And that is a beautiful car. I love that profile. That side profile there is just stunning. That lovely elongated front and swooping rear end. What a beautiful old car that is. Fantastic leather interior. Sadly, whoever owns this reads the sun. We don't advise that here on Crap Car Collective. Look at that interior. Beautiful wood. That lovely dogleg automatic gearbox. Massive centre console. And incredibly comfortable looking rear seats. And electric windows all round it looks as well. Of course, it's a Jag. She is absolutely gorgeous. We have this XJ6 here. And again, stunningly beautiful car. From the beauty and majesty of those old Jaguars to the bog standardness and mundaneness of this Mark I Ford Fiesta. But of course, I don't mean that badly, because it's lovely, isn't it? How cute is that? I think this is an L spec, which is fairly basic down the range. Keep windows all round, black bumpers, black mirrors, original dealer sticker there too, and she's for sale if you fancy her. I certainly do, but it should be out of my price range, sadly. Now here is something that every Volvo estate probably should never be. And I mean that in a nice way. Sporty, quick, stylish. Not the sort of phrases you think of when you think Volvo estate. You usually think pensioner, slow, boxy. But no, I have a serious soft spot for a Volvo estate because of course I own one. I own the baby brother of this thing, the V40, and of course mine's not sporty. Mine is bog standard and very pensioner spec, but this certainly isn't. 5-speed manual. I'd say this absolutely bombs down the road, and it's clearly a daily driver with the baby seat in the back and everything. That's fantastic. Headlamp washers, wipers. Yeah, it's a serious bit of Swedish kit. I'm sure I've mentioned this before on show videos, but I'll always have a soft spot for a Mark IV, 5, whatever these are, Ford Fiesta. Because, of course, I had one as my first ever car. Ah, this brings back good memories. Not quite as high a spec as mine, actually. Mine was a Ghia, which had lots of fake wood, alloys and all that. Now, this has got alloys, but it's a Z-Tech S and suffers from the traditional Ford fading badge syndrome. And mine was a 5-door, this is only a 3. But that interior is lovely, isn't it? Really smart in there. No idea of the mileage, it's got a digital dashboard. Steering wheel is looking a little bit, or a digital clock. But I always loved that sort of cut-out section there. So the passenger's got plenty of legroom. Pretty sure mine had an airbag, that one doesn't. But yeah, brings back good memories, these. And yeah, of course, I'd love one. Probably not for the foreseeable future, but definitely at some stage. Ooh, who owns this lovely Peugeot 306? Yeah, I do. It's the 306's debut at a show, so it's never been at one of these before. And somebody's put some litter on it, look. Flyers and stuff that'll be going straight on the fire. Actually, I might go to that. October 1st, yeah, let's see. The recent Haynes manual I bought, displayed proudly. But yeah, it's a little bit surreal, but very nice to see it here. And it's the only 306 at the show. You never see these at shows, and this is the only one that's here. Now, there are plenty of really valuable, very desirable and stereotypically classic old cars here, and you know, I admire them and I appreciate them and all that, but it's not what this channel's about, is it? Definitely not. So let's look at some of the other old clunkers that are on display here. I have an awful lot of time for Glacier White Honda Civics, especially of this era. Conjures and brings up a lot of memories for me. One of my teachers in school actually had one of these about 20 years ago. Miss Jones, if you're watching, this is for you, but you're probably dead because you were old back then. But it's lovely, and it is kind of
modified slightly. The wheels, not a big fan of, as with the big chunky exhaust. But apart from that, it seems relatively unmolested. These window and sunroof guards, not standard, I don't believe, but I suppose tastefully modified, you could call it. Yeah, a lot of time for those old Civics.
The red one's always. It's a black one. Black one.
So I think it's time then for me to hit the road. Here, I've spent a couple of hours milling around the cars, and there's some fantastic old machines. It's been very, very enjoyable indeed. When I first arrived, they looked rather empty. I was kind of thinking this was just a dead-end country show where about 4 people had turned up, but it's really, really busy. Loads of quality old machines here. So yeah, it's been a thoroughly enjoyable afternoon, and it's been brilliant to get the Peugeot 306 out, which is something I promised myself I'd do. I'd show it at a couple of shows. This is the very first, and hopefully it was well received and enjoyed by anybody who walked past it. So yeah, here's to more of the same.